Let's unbox 3 Micro Galaxy Squadron Series 7 mystery boxes.
Varykino. If it's Star Wars, we collect it.
Hello there, thanks for visiting Varykino. This past weekend we attended the Retro event here in Auckland, New Zealand. A fantastic event where collectors can come together to buy and sell cool retro and fandom collectibles. So of course we spent hours going through everything on the hunt for some cool Star Wars items to add to our collection. And one of the booths had some Micro Galaxy Squadron items, which of course we love. Sadly for us here in New Zealand, our local stockists no longer stock this particular line. They stopped with Series 5, so we were very excited to find a seller with items from Series 7, specifically the mystery boxes. So we picked up 3. So of course they are traditionally mystery boxes, but the seller had opened them up, so we did know which ones are inside. But of course I'm very excited to open them up, assemble the vehicle with the figure and the flight stand, and add them to our collection after checking out the details. So I'm very excited to finally have some new MGS to add to our collection. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Coming up very soon, I'll open up each of the 3 boxes. We'll go through all of the tiny little details and get them all assembled and take a closer look. But first, let's take a really quick look at the packaging. So I quickly grabbed my other Micro Galaxy mystery boxes for a quick lineup comparison. I have here examples from Series 1, Series 3 and Series 5 alongside my new Series 7. And I thought it was a little interesting and perhaps a little bit sad to see that the new packaging no longer has the cool space battle art that you can see on these ones. They all had very similar designs. The Star Wars logo, some really cool space battle artwork. We had a colored icon down the left-hand side noting this series, and the silver foil Micro Galaxy Squadron logo down beneath. You can see they've really changed it up here for Series 7. So instead of cool artwork, we have a mostly black and blue design with some cool metallic silver accents. We have a black background for the upper half of the box with the large white Star Wars logo. We have the Micro Galaxy Squadron logo accented with that chrome silver. And then we have a silver banner through the center reading Series 7 in 2 different languages. Then we have mostly white text against a blue background for the lower half of the box. Mystery vehicle and figure includes 1 vehicle, 1 figure, may include flight stand, 1 set, and that is repeated in a few different languages. Down the side, again, blue and blank with white text there. The other side shows some of the vehicles and characters from this particular series. You can see that we have 4 pictured and 2 mystery ones, chases to chase. Now, as you can see, we do have a pen tick over the one that is included in this box because, of course, this one is actually opened by the seller. We have a Series 7 note here. We have sort of a blueprint style artwork here on the flap showing the actual scale of the included toy. The speeder bike and the figure here is Dirge, which is included in this series as pictured here. It's kind of interesting that we don't really see the shapes of the mystery ones. They are a generic silhouette there. For the other flap, we just have the Star Wars logo and the Micro Galaxy Squadron logo. So yeah, it's kind of lacking a little bit not having that cool space battle there on the front, because the other big section here is just the copyright barcode, all of that kind of stuff here on the back. We do have sort of a serial number here across the back in case you are tracking things down. But yes, of course, this one, we do see which one it is. And of course, the packaging is the same across all of them. So you can see we have the same printing down the side, and that blueprint image on the bottom is the same. It's not depicting the one inside because these are true mystery boxes. So I have 3 on hand. You can see which ones I get there with the ticks on the boxes. So let's go ahead and look at them in person. So I know these are opened, but it's still exciting to open them up and see them and get them assembled all properly myself. So the seller had opened them from the top just by cutting through the tape across there. Generally, I actually open all my boxes from the underside, but you know, that's just me. So of course we can see inside We have a clear tray with sort of a clear protective sort of lid over the tray, where we have 3 included items. We have a speeder bike, a figure, and a flight stand. So of course they do term it as a flight stand, but you can also use it, of course, as a display stand. So I quite like that. It's kind of funny that these smaller ones include a plastic display stand, whereas most of the larger vehicles in the Micro Galaxy Squadron line don't have them. So that is Captain Rex. So let's get him out. Tiny little figures. These are so fun. And here we have the speeder bike. Hoping this one, I can get it out not too tricky, because we've got this whole sidecar piece to it there, and then we've got the clear stand. So I'm just going to very quickly pop that packaging back in there so I don't mix them all up, and we can pop that there in the back. Okay, this is a really cool, quite complicated little speeder bike. Of course, most of the ones that I do have in my collection from the mystery box series are speeder bikes. I'm really hoping to track down some of the more unique vehicle shapes, but of course this one's very different to most of my speeder bikes because we've got this sort of extra sidecar piece there. Really liking the paint detail on this. We've kind of got like a sort of a light gray, almost a tan color here with the sort of dark wine accents and some silver accents. So of course this one only does come with the one little figure, but I might actually test out one of my other figures from these boxes to see if I can actually fit a second figure in the sidecar there, because that would be kind of fun. There is a little bit of a flex to the sidecar piece. It's got sort of an attachment here, so I was a little bit worried taking that out of the box, but it's all in one piece. This is looking quite nice. Paintwork looks pretty good. Got maybe a tiny dot here where it's just a little bit, you know, a little bit of a miss there, but most of it looks pretty good. We have a slot here on the underside, which of course is for the display stand. So just as a quick note, it notes that of course these are flight stands. So if you sort of stand it like this with the Star Wars logo, you can kind of see the Star Wars logo there. It's kind of printed kind of in the plastic on the back. If you put it on sort of this edge, you can sort of fly it around, or you can do it the other way around. If I just remove it and connect it on like this, you can sort of hold it and zoom it around. It's why they sort of call it a flight stand, so you can sort of fly them around. Or if you prefer sort of not to play with your toys and put them on display instead, if you put it on the sort of upright section here, it now forms a display stand. So it's going to stand in sort of a hovered just off the ground display, which I really like. And of course this is how I have mine. Looks really nice, and it's a little bit easier to hold. You can still hold it from the sides, and you can just see that sort of flight attachment there. It's not too off-putting. I think it's a pretty good design. So of course the last piece for this is Captain Rex himself. This looks like Phase 2 Rex. Some tiny printing on this. So of course he's mostly white. We've got black and blue accents here. Oh, this tiny printing. I'm always so impressed with the sculpting and the paintwork on the Micro Galaxy Squadron figures. You know, of course the vehicles are the main headline pieces for these, but the figures are just a fun little bonus, and they put so much effort into it. So you can see we've even got the little blue helmet details there. We've got the little antenna painted there. He's got his black pouches, his blue shoulder pauldron, clone armor paint job there. That's really fun. And of course, they are even articulated because we have to get them into sort of a seated piloting position. So his arms can raise up at the shoulders so he can hold onto handlebars, and he is articulated at the hips. If I can just get him to, sometimes they're a little bit stiff out of the packaging, but of course they are also articulated at the hips so we can get them into a seated position. This is really important if they are in the larger vehicles like X-Wing cockpits and things like that, but of course they also need to sit down for speeder bikes as well. So I'm hoping he's going to go on this pretty easily. So there we go. Now, they don't fit, I think they're always like a little bit funny on the speeder bikes. I think they fit into the larger vehicles a little bit better. When I've got him sort of seated, his feet don't quite touch the pedals, and it takes a little bit of sort of tweaking to get their hands into just the right position to get them to sort of realistically hold on to the handlebars there. But I think he looks pretty cool. I am sort of moving him on the base there a little bit. I think he looks really cool. Such a unique sort of a clone trooper speeder bike there. Very fun. Okay, I love Captain Rex. So happy to see him in this little mini scale. That's quite cute. Okay, let's go in with this box. This one is, you can see there on the side, of course, it has been opened once again, but this is my first time getting them out and on a display. So this one here is Kalnaka from the Acolyte live action Disney Plus series. We have a Wookiee Jedi, so this is very fun. My first High Republic era item from the Micro Galaxy Squadron line. So we've got a little figure. Again, we have the flight stand / display stand and the speeder bike. So this is a really different shaped speeder bike. I'll just pop that one there. So jumping ahead, wow. This is my first time seeing this in hand. This is fantastic. Look at the different paintwork on this. So the base of it looks like we've got sort of a gray here, but then the base is a very dark metallic gray, sort of a gunmetal. Then on the sides, we've got like a dark gold kind of bronze color. Almost a brown up the top. Then we have a red, silver, and black. That is a lot of painted details on such a small speeder. And then we've got these really sort of multicolored stripes along the body. We've got the dark gunmetal, a silver, a different silver stripe. That's kind of that more brilliant silver, and red there as well. Far out. That is so cool. Really different. So we've got tiny little pedals down here and handlebars there for the figure to sit. We've got a little sort of antenna here in the back as well. And of course we've got the attachment point here. So let's go ahead and put this one on its little stand. That's looking really cool. Neat. Okay, and let's check out our tiny little Kalnaka the Wookiee Jedi. So of course he is dark brown, but he's still got a lot of painted details. He's kind of got like that sort of orangey yellow tunic with pale yellow sort of shoulder sections here, a dark brown belt. Is that tiny little, I'm not quite sure if I'm seeing the sort of painted, yeah, there's metallic pouches on his belt. That's so tiny. Wow. And then we've got the sort of pale tunics. Oh, and look, his lightsaber. It's got like a metallic copper lightsaber hanging off his belt. That is really neat. Cool. And he's even got little painted toes and painted hands and some black accents on his face there as well. So much tiny detail on one little figure. And of course, he's a little bit different to other humanoid figures because he's got this overall sort of sculpted Wookiee fur texture there as well. So he is also articulated. His arms went up a little bit easier compared to Rex. Just going to gently get him articulating there at the hips because they're generally a little bit stiff straight out of the packet there. Wow, that's a lot there. Okay, so because the characters don't bend at the knees, I'm not sure that I'm going to sort of get his feet in a realistic sort of position, because some speeder bikes you kind of bend at the knees and kind of have your feet kind of sticking backwards here, because these kind of look more like the pedals back here. But when I sort of put him into position, he's going to sit a little bit further back. I can kind of get his hands, it's definitely going to take a little bit of work to get him into position, into sort of a realistic look there, but I can kind of get his hands on the handlebars there. But I'm just, oh wow, just the amount of paintwork on this. So much detail on the speeder bike, which of course is very different to the speeder bikes we see in the original trilogy and the prequels and the Clone Wars. And then of course we've got this very detailed Wookiee Jedi figure there as well. Absolutely fantastic. Wow, cool. Okay, very quickly, just going to pop the packaging back in the box so I don't get everything muddled up. Pop that one there, and then I've got the third one, which you can see which one it is there, checked on the side. Again, this one is opened up from the top. Okay, pop the box there in the background, and we have Sabine Wren as seen in the Ahsoka live action series in that sort of opening scene where she is racing on her speeder bike on Lothal. This one is so cool. I love Sabine. I love the Ahsoka live action series. So this was the one, I have to admit, that caught my eye immediately when I spotted it for sale at the retro event, and I saw these vibrant colors immediately. I saw that there was a Sabine one, and I was like, I need this one for my collection. Then of course I hunted through the rest of them for sale and picked out the ones that we didn't have. So let's check out her speeder bike. So of course this one looks a little bit more familiar compared to the other ones. You know, we've got some sort of similar shapes from sort of the classic speeder bike, but of course Sabine's added some colorful touches to it with these yellow and purple striped sections there. This is quite thin through the middle. I think my one has a little bit, I'm not sure if that's just a little bit of a bend at this point, because that is very narrow through here. But of course, once I get it on display, I'm sure that's not going to bother me. So we've got sort of this dark gray section. We've got white or pale gray here at sort of the end points here. That cool custom paintwork there in the middle and towards the back. And then we've got the sort of dark red and metallic silver accents down here at the back. I love the metallic silver here, and we've also got a light grey and white panel there as well. So of course we've got the slot to attach it to the flight stand is back here. We've got sort of foot pedals here and handlebars there. So again, a nice clear display stand. I'm just going to attach that one in the back there. Nice. Okay, now let's look at the Sabine figure. She looks fantastic. So of course, in this scene, she has her long hair. You can see it there in the back. It looks quite red here. And she is wearing a helmet, which looks like we've got multiple different colors. We've got sort of like a dark red that kind of matches the speeder. We've got some yellow accent paint there. She is wearing sort of a dark maroon, sort of dark wine color jacket with some sort of sculpted detail down her sleeve. We've got yellow at the shoulder. We've got black at the cuffs. We've got a tiny, tiny emblem on her left arm. Oh my goodness, that is so small. My eyes are having trouble focusing on that, but that looks like that's got to be digitally printed. That's yellow and red. I'm going to try and see if I can take a closer up photo of that, because that is so tiny. That is absolutely fantastic. We've got a yellow visor there. She's wearing an orange undershirt. She's got some painted detail there at the belt, and then she's got orange pants and black boots. Just fantastic. So much detail on these tiny little figures. They are just so adorable. And of course, she's a little bit stiff at the hips. Just gently, I don't want to break her. She's very tight at the hips. Sometimes I worry that the amount of paint that they use to customize these figures, this one is just not quite wanting to bend. I'm a little bit worried about this one, actually. The other ones, you can kind of break the seal. Oh, there we go. Whew. That one had me a little bit worried. She was quite tight there at the hips, but there she is in her seated position, because I really want to get her on her speeder. I loved that scene in Ahsoka zooming down Lothal, and there she goes. So of course I'm going to spend a bit of time just tweaking. They only have those 2 points of articulation. Their heads don't move. They don't have any sort of elbow or knee articulation to kind of really help them get into sort of slightly more realistic positions, but I still think they're pretty cool. And of course, when I've got them on display, they really do look like little figures racing along. She looks fantastic. I love the vibrant colors. Got quite an interesting mix of colors for these ones. When I've got sort of the purple and yellow of Sabine, and then I've got these really cool sort of Wookiee vibes with the red, brown, and yellows of Kalnaka, and then I got that sort of clone trooper white and a blue and maroon accent colors for Captain Rex. Absolutely fantastic. I just love how just colorful these 3 look, and it still saddens me that I can't buy Micro Galaxy Squadron here in New Zealand anymore, but I can find other collectors like myself that are also wanting to add these to our Star Wars collections, and they're importing them from overseas. So I was really happy to find another collector that had bought in a box and was selling off their doubles, which meant that I could add these 3 to my collection. I know in the future I'm probably going to have to track down a box to try and find the rare and chase vehicles from this particular series and others, but for now this was fantastic. They were cheaper than retail, so of course I just liked knowing which ones I was going to get so I could add them to my collection. Of course I would have loved to find Dirge. Of course he originally was from the Micro series Clone Wars from 2003. I absolutely love that series, so I was really hoping to find Dirge. Sadly he wasn't there or somebody got to him before I did. That's always the fun part about those sort of collector meetups. You never know what you're going to find, and it's always a little bit of a race to find the things that you really do want to add to your collection. But this was fantastic. I love the Micro Galaxy Squadron line. I've got a few other pieces in my collection that I do need to open up, so I'm looking forward to doing that in the coming week or two, because I'm just having so much fun finally opening up some new ones from Series 7, and they look fantastic. They're just so cute. I love the figures. These guys look great. So this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today as I opened up some new Micro Galaxy Squadron mystery boxes and had a lot of fun at checking out the vehicles and tiny figures. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are in the galaxy, and let's hang out again very soon for more Star Wars fun. May the Force be with you. If you're a Micro Galaxy Squadron fan, I've also unboxed Sabine Wren's TIE Fighter. That video is linked here in case you haven't already seen it, as well as a whole Micro Galaxy Squadron unboxing playlist. This is the way.